Welcome back everybody to another comic video. Today we're going to talk about CGC 9.8s or just 9.8 graded comics in general, and whether or not I think you should buy them graded or if you should try to find them in the wild or find them raw and submit them into CGC for grading. But to dovetail into that, I actually have an update on my Grail Run. For those of you who've been watching, I'm going on a Symbiote Grail Run. You've seen a couple of them already back here, but I do have a couple more acquisitions that were pretty significant for me. You know, I'm still waiting for the big one, but just show you a couple of these and we'll go right into the discussion here. We have Amazing Spider-Man number 361, the first full appearance of Carnage. You can see there it's a 9.8, white pages, and he even has the custom Carnage label there that I'm not sure if they use anymore. But I got this for $1,100 on Facebook. It was a private sale that somebody posted on a page, and I would much rather go through Facebook if I can, or private sales, obviously, because you don't have to go through eBay's the sales through eBay, because some people will increase the shipping or increase their prices because they have to pay that 10% eBay fee, and also as a buyer you have to pay the sales tax. So these are probably already, the prices that you get them on Facebook, they're already included, hopefully. And also you're still doing PayPal goods and services, so you still have that protection too, just in case you get scammed or whatnot. But so far so good here. And then the second one, which is a pretty big one for me, the next one next to the, I guess there's one more, yeah, just one more higher than this, but boom, there it is. Amazing Spider-Man number 316. Man, I don't know, the glare is pretty bad, but it's the first full appearance on the cover of Venom. So this is actually the second appearance of Venom, but it's the cover, it's classic McFarlane cover here. And yeah, so what did I say? Amazing Spider-Man 316, right? Just to get that out there. I paid $1,500 for this, and it's really hard to find this right now. I think less than 16 or 17. It's going way up. These two are going to be poised to jump way up, just because I think the Venom 2 trailer is going to be coming out soon. But both things, very happy I got these. These are, I think, for now at least, this is, if you can't get the ASM 300, which is, it's approaching $10,000, guys. I've been trying to get that thing, and it's just, even if I could try to get it at whatever the going market value is, people are offering above market value. I had it 2 times where I could have gotten it at their asking price of like $7,000, but someone offered more. And then now it's at the point where it's almost $8,000, and it's now it's like reaching the upper echelon of my budget. But anyway, these are the 2 new acquisitions, and very excited for it. And hopefully I can get that ASM 300 before the trailer comes out for Venom 2. There's rumors it might come out next week, so I gotta really get on it. So all right, let's talk about CGC 9.8s or just 9.8 graded comics in general. If you want to look at PGX or CBCS, I personally would go CGC right now, because if you get those other 2, you're basically discounting yourself. I mean, if you're looking to, put it this way, if you're gonna invest in the long term, you're gonna be losing some money if you get CBCS or PGX, because there is a 10 to 20% less than what CGC would command on the market, because for some reason people just, they're kind of like the gold standard. But anyway, if someone was to look into long-term investment, these are called investment grades for a reason, and you wanted to get CGC 9.8s, all right, let's just say that's the given. Would you or should you buy them already slabbed and graded, or should you try to find them out in the wild, raw copies, and try to find the best copies and then submit them to CGC for grading? We're gonna go over some pros and cons for it, and we'll see, where it weighs, how it weighs, and we'll see what's probably the better move, right? So let's go over the pros real quick. The number one thing I think for pros, a pro for this, is peace of mind. 100% that it's a 9.8. It's slabbed. It's not subjective anymore at this point. It's still subjective in their grading, that somebody's grading it, but it's no longer subjective in that the market will view this as a 9.8 or less. This is just going to be viewed as a 9.8. That's what it is. That's the number one peace of mind, right? Another one would be you don't have to press, clean, submit your CGC candidate, 9.8 candidates beforehand, and that takes time, effort, takes more money. And a big one here is, what if it doesn't come back as a 9.8? So you do all this, you find the best possible raw copy you can. It looks like it's going to be perfect, and you send it in, it comes back in 9.6 because of some reason, something you didn't find out. Maybe there was something on the back page that you didn't see, or maybe there's like inside there's like a tear, or I don't know, something. But something like that could that's something that you don't have to, that goes along with peace of mind, right? Also, it takes away the subjectivity of the prices. So if you go in the market, the prices for 9.8s are all going to be what they are. You don't have to worry about, well, is it really 9.8? It's not, because it's going to be slabbed and graded, and it's more or less everyone accepts what it is. And then, of course, good to go along with peace of mind is you don't, when you're submitting for grading, you're unsure whether or not it's a 9.8. And then obviously you don't have to worry about finding a 9.8 out there because you just already have it. Now let's look at the cons, right? The number one con here is the price tag, because a premium price tag will be applied to all 9.8s. Doesn't matter what it is. Like for example, these right here, 316. You could probably, okay, let's look at 316. You could probably find a super high grade, maybe even a near mint caliber, near mint plus / mint, that would be equivalent to 9.8. You could probably find it for $500, $600, $700, maybe a little bit more. But then that's, if you look at it, that's almost half of what an actual slabbed 9.8 CGC graded comic would go. Because remember, I paid $1,500 for this, and if you get it for $600, $700, $800 raw and submit them, you're saving quite a bit of money. Of course, you have to pay for pressing, you have to pay for cleaning, you have to pay for shipping, you have to pay for CGC fees. So all in all, it might run you close to $1,000. But if you want to just look at the raw numbers, you're probably going to be saving $500, $600, $700 depending on what you paid for. So that's a big one, right? So sometimes another example would be ASM 300 for me. I'm actually trying to look for super high graded raw copies of them, but they're just the price is starting to go up. But they're running around $3,000 to $4,000 at the. If you really want to scrutinize the ones that you find that are really, from reputable sellers on eBay or Facebook, and if they say it is, then that's what it is. So if you do get them for, let's say, $3,000, and then you submit them and all that, let's say you pay $3,500 for everything, that's still less than half of what the going rate is of $7,000, $8,000. So that's a big one. And then a lesser con here would be that not all 9.8s are created equal, right? In terms of maybe the coloring is off, like some of them have off-white, some of them have white pages, some of them have centering issues. But sometimes the centering issues is not, it's more likely the production run of the whole comic. Like for example, on this one, the number 300 here, or I'm sorry, 361 here, it's a little bit off-centered here, but it's common for issue 361, so that's not really that big a deal. But if you wanted to obviously look at this for, let's say, presentation purposes, you want to display it, you want to show people, some of them you're going to want to get the best copy you can. So getting it in raw form to find it, or trying to find a 9.8 that presents well, because not all 9.8s are created equal, like I was saying. So that is a consideration. However, I don't know if, for me, if I'm looking at a long-term investment grade, that isn't that big of a deal, because it is, in the end, ultimately 9.8, subjectively, so to speak. And then the last one is the thrill of the hunt, right? This is something that if you're like a collector and you like to go out there and just like, you know, if like, let's say you're a picker, you know, and you just want to find hidden treasures and whatnot, the thrill of the hunt will be taken away if you just find it at 9.8 right away, right? Because one of the exciting things when you're collecting is you want to go to a comic store, you want to go to a convention, you want to go to a storage unit, a thrift store, a garage sale, yard sale, whatever, and find those hidden gems in there. And you might find that 9.8. I'll give you an example, a quick story. My friend, I got her into collecting, and you know, she's trying to look for something new, and she just decided, you know what, I'm gonna find out whatever is new that everything is gonna go through in the future. And then she decided, I'm gonna get Young Avengers #1. Went over to a local store. The guy just had it in the back before sorting, and he had it for $5. And we're keep in mind, this was about a month ago, so you know, Young Avengers is really, really expensive right now. And she got it. I took a look at it. We got it clean and pressed, and the person, we all, a couple friends, the guy who pressed it, the guy at the comic store, all agree that it's probably the best candidate we've seen for a 9.8 if we submit it. So she's going to submit it, and hopefully it comes back at 9.8. And if it does come back, then that's part of the thrill, because she got it for $5, and then it's going to come back a 9.8, which is over $1,000, right? So that's kind of what the thrill of the hunt is, and that is kind of taken away if you just buy it straight up. So you'd have to weigh those two. You'd have to weigh the options of what it is you're in it for. Do you like finding the best deals? Do you want to try to find you want the challenge of getting them, kind of like finding the diamond in the rough, needle in the haystack, you know, whatever those figure of speeches are? Or do you just want to be done with it, get them kind of when they're low right now, I guess, for some of them, and put them away, and then maybe 5-6 years you pull them out again and maybe sell them at a gain, at a profit. I guess a perfect example would be Ultimate Fallout 4. If you're trying to find those, which is the first appearance of Miles Morales, if you're trying to find those raw, you could have got those. Probably, you know, there's a lot of those in raw copies that are very high grade, because you know it is a modern book. A lot of people took care of it. A lot of people know that was a big deal. But if you were to buy the first appearance, the Ultimate Fallout #4, maybe a year and a half ago, even 2 years ago, you're probably paying $400, $500, $300, $400, $500, and in a 9.8 CGC slab graded already out the door. Back then, it was probably, that seems like a lot, because you could probably got it for like $20, $30, just raw, and then just take your chances. But if you just paid the premium back then at $400, you wait 2 years later, it is now a $3,000 book and still rising, then it's worth it. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, it is probably better to get it at 9.8. It's probably better, like for me, in my opinion, to get this 361 now at 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, whatever it's going for right now. I think it's starting to rise above 1,200. But let's say you can get this for $1,100 now. I would definitely get this now for $1,100. Wait a couple years when Carnage just takes over, you know, the MCU, or not MCU, the Sony Venomverse, and see this thing come back at $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 in about a year or two, and then maybe then you want to flip it, but then you already paid for the, you know, you already paid the $1,100 beforehand at a premium, which is now the premium for this right now is about $1,100, and then you reap the rewards later on. You know, I think that's probably a better strategy if you're doing that, because I think if you would take a long time, it would take you a long time to try to find really high grade copies, then you have to take time sending them in and hopefully get them back. So just be done with it and move on. That's my opinion about that. So you know, we'll go over the pros and cons real quick here. Again, just you can see the list. Peace of mind. You don't have to submit. Okay, the pros. Sorry. Peace of mind. You don't have to submit, press, clean for grading, because you know that takes time. The market will be objective in pricing, and you don't have to worry about finding 9.8s, a 9.8 candidate to submit. And to go along with the peace of mind, you know, it takes away the uncertainty of whether or not it is a 9.8 when you're submitting. Of course, and then the cons, the premium pricing, you're gonna be paying significantly more. Not all 9.8s are created equal, like I was saying, with the coloring and the centering and whatnot, for presentation purposes, and the thrill of the hunt. So if you're looking for investing, get them right away, a 9.8. If you're looking for the collectible part of it, and then just, you know, looking for, you know, finding it on your own, finding those, you know, the gems, then obviously don't get them in 9.8. But this is, keep in mind that this is if you wanted to get a 9.8 to begin with. You know, if the ultimate goal is to get a 9.8, I would say just go up and just straight up buy it as a 9.8. All right, so that's it. I know I rambled on a little bit there. I'll be better, but that's it. That's all I got. Till next time, guys. See ya.